But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that?
It's one thing to toss a bit of shade at your favorite politician, but it's a whole different battlefield to roast him live on national television. And that's exactly what Bill Maher just unleashed. Maher has never been shy about swooning over Gavin Newsom, yet now even he appears exhausted by the governor's circus, and he's done pretending otherwise. On the latest episode of his show, the sharp-tongued host went straight for the jugular, ripping into Newsom's catastrophic leadership of California, and the takedown was savage beyond belief. Smash that subscribe button if you crave more fiery, no-filter commentary that burns this hot.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, home to 12% of all Americans and 50% of all Mexicans. On the upside, Newsom is the only governor, with the possible exception of Kristi Noem, who looks like they could do porn.
Did Bill Maher seriously just declare that Gavin Newsom's greatest legacy is looking like he belongs in the adult film industry? That's not just a playful jab, it's a devastating knockout from someone who once admired him. Imagine being governor of one of America's most powerful states, only for your biggest achievement to be your looks, suited for an X-rated parody. Out of all the supposed accomplishments Newsom brags about, Maher reduced it to nothing more than a mock-worthy career path, and that screams volumes about how badly California has been run into the ground. When your #1 cheerleader roasts you this viciously, it's the clearest sign your political brand is sinking fast.
I don't want to say he really wants to be the guy who steps in if the current nominee goes down, but he gets an alert on his phone every time Biden can't think of a word. The downside is that governor of California is kind of like being conservator for Britney Spears. They'll attack him on California's homeless problem, but there's a response to that. The homeless can live anywhere, but they choose California.
The truth is, California has practically rolled out a golden carpet for the homeless. And why wouldn't they pour in when the laws make life so easy and convenient? What should be treated as a full-blown crisis has been twisted into a haven, where the homeless aren't just tolerated, they're practically celebrated. But let's be clear. This isn't compassion, it's chaos. Under Gavin Newsom's rule, homelessness hasn't just risen, it has exploded into a statewide catastrophe. Instead of real solutions, his weak policies fuel the disaster, turning sidewalks into sprawling tent cities and neighborhoods into open-air camps. And it doesn't stop there. His soft-on-crime stance, where criminals are coddled while victims are ignored, has supercharged California's lawlessness. Break the law, and all you face is a slap on the wrist. Homelessness skyrocketing, crime climbing, quality of life plummeting. That's the legacy Newsom has branded California with.
Of course, the knock on Gavin has always been that he's slick. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I noticed slick is something no one has been accusing Biden of lately. Do you want good at talking or don't you? Newsom is the best communicator in the party with a history of standing up to bullies, and his name lends itself to the best slogan since I Like Ike. I'm having Gavin.
At last, Bill Maher says out loud what millions of Californians have known for years. Gavin Newsom is nothing more than a slick salesman in a designer suit. Sure, he's polished, smooth, and charming on the surface, but underneath, it's all empty words and hollow promises. Newsom has mastered the art of dazzling crowds with endless speeches while sidestepping the tough questions and covering up his failures. Yes, he can charm an audience, but charm doesn't fix exploding homelessness, rising crime, or a collapsing standard of living. He slips through every mess with carefully rehearsed lines, but let's be honest, does that count as leadership? Do Californians really deserve more sound bites instead of real solutions? If even Maher, who once admired him, is tearing off the mask, maybe it's time the rest of the nation finally sees the truth too.
I was on KBLA
Yeah.
yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, "Who do you want for running president?" I mentioned, "I think you'd be good at the job." Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, "I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state." I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American-owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win.
Anyone with a shred of common sense knows Gavin Newsom doesn't stand a chance at the presidency. Not after the wreckage he's left behind in California. His record is a disaster so glaring that even the slickest PR machine can't polish it up. Across the state, frustrated residents are voicing their anger at how far he's dragged California down. Once the proud hub of innovation, business, and prosperity, the Golden State is now a place companies are fleeing from in droves. Major corporations have packed up, taking jobs and futures with them, while high-profile individuals have also bolted, unwilling to endure his reckless economic policies. Add to that a crushed middle class and unbearable living costs, and it's no wonder California's mass exodus is smashing records. And here's the kicker. Even many Democrats think he's gone too far. When your own party's base whispers that you're too progressive, your White House dreams are finished before they even begin.
Look at the swing states. There's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate, and you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Here's where Bill Maher hit the bullseye. What's truly dragging Gavin Newsom down isn't just homelessness or a wrecked economy, it's the nonstop woke circus he's been cheering on from day one. Voters across America are sick of identity politics being forced into every corner of daily life. And in California, under Newsom's watch, the state has become the epicenter of it all. The laws are some of the most absurd in the entire nation, and Maher singled out one of the worst, a rule demanding that any toy store with more than 500 employees must have a gender-neutral section. Because apparently, in Newsom's California, kids can't just play with toys. They have to make a political statement while doing it, as if genders don't even exist anymore. This kind of tone-deaf policymaking doesn't inspire confidence. It makes voters roll their eyes and laugh at the idea of him ever sitting in the Oval Office.
Too much government there.
That's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that. And they were the ones making a case for that. They were making a case they're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know the top priorities are homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind.
And that right there is his slick talk in motion, the oldest trick in the political playbook. No one's saying Gavin Newsom is blind to California's problems. Of course he knows them. Everyone does. Homelessness is spiraling out of control. Crime is surging in every major city. Taxes are suffocatingly high, and businesses are fleeing by the thousands. These aren't secrets. They're plastered across daily headlines. The real issue isn't awareness, it's action. Simply knowing the house is on fire doesn't make you a hero. It's grabbing the hose and putting out the flames that counts. Yet Newsom hides behind smooth speeches and catchy buzzwords, pretending that acknowledgement equals leadership. It doesn't. Words don't build affordable housing, they don't reduce crime, and they certainly don't balance budgets. Only action does, and California is still waiting while Newsom keeps talking.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
Because
that was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I read, 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds.
Yes, you heard that right. Nearly 80% of California's entire water supply is devoured by agriculture, and a massive chunk of that is poured straight into almond farming. Think about how outrageous that is. This is a state infamous for devastating droughts, where wildfires rage every summer, and where residents are constantly lectured to cut back on showers and watering lawns to save water. Yet behind the curtain, billions of gallons are funneled into almond orchards. Why? Because almonds are California's golden cash crop, and big agriculture has the power to keep the water flowing their way. So while everyday citizens are told to ration like it's the end of the world, corporate farms are draining the state dry. The irony is brutal. In a land burning with fire and thirst, California's precious water isn't saving its people. It's growing nuts.
We grow a boatload of almonds
I'm well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Take on big almonds.
Take on big almonds.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No. You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing in those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta Conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off-stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California.
When it comes to slick, polished answers, nobody outshines Gavin Newsom. The man could sell ice in a blizzard with that silver tongue of his. At every press conference and interview, he acts like he's reinventing leadership with bold, groundbreaking ideas. But peel back the glossy words, and the reality is painfully unimpressive. He's not fixing the crises that Californians face every single day. He's perfected the art of political theater. Homelessness continues to skyrocket. Crime tears through cities. Businesses are vanishing under crushing taxes. And yet, Newsom still preaches as if California is flourishing. That's not leadership. It's pure performance. His true skill isn't governing, it's spinning the narrative. And while smooth speeches may win claps, they don't fix broken streets, lower skyrocketing costs, or make families feel safe. Words may dazzle a crowd, but they'll never deliver results.
You're good at this.
What?
See, I'm telling you, you're good at this job. Okay, but here's, I feel like the last couple of years you've purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what?
Well,
but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. It's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception.
Gavin Newsom is as woke as they come. And if America makes the mistake of putting him in charge, brace yourself, because he'll drag the entire country down just like he's dragged California. Over the last 8 years, the Golden State has crumbled into chaos. Homelessness everywhere, businesses fleeing in waves, sky-high taxes crushing families, and cities drowning in crime and addiction. California should be a shining beacon of wealth and prosperity, but under Newsom, it's become a national warning sign. He's mastered the art of pushing woke talking points while ignoring the real struggles of everyday people. If this so-called California blueprint is what he wants to bring to America, then it's a blueprint for collapse. Strip away the glossy speeches, the media spin, and the polished image, and the truth about leaders like Newsom, and even Obama, becomes crystal clear. They thrive on charm, illusion, and theatrics, while real problems like crime, homelessness, borders, and the economy spiral out of control. Obama sold hope but delivered division. Newsom sold a California dream but left behind a nightmare. And now some want to hand him the keys to the White House? America cannot afford another illusionist in power. We need problem solvers, not showmen. California was the warning shot. Ignore it, and the entire nation pays the price.